what an incredible day we have. It's hard to beat on the coast, and it's hard to beat this view and all the hard work that went into it to make it so good. I would like to recognize a number of people before we get started, and then we've got a few speakers, and then we'll, when we cut the ribbon, we're going to cut the ribbon with the view through the cut of the road right there. So, I'd like to recognize Katrina Rill with Jackie Spears' office. State Senator Jerry Hill. State Assembly Member Kevin Mullen. And I think representing Rich Gordon's office, Jeremy Dennis is here somewhere. There he is. Also the County Board of Supervisors, Don Horsley.
Yes.
Thank you. Carol Broom's here. And Warren Slocum. He's got a great hat on, too. And then Coastal Commission Executive Director, Dr. Charles Lester. And the Coastal Conservancy's Executive Officer, Sam Shuckett. And I'd also like those in the audience to raise their hand, because I believe the Coastal Conservancy's whole board is here with a number of staff members. And then Bob Finney, the Acting Chief Deputy Director for Caltrans District. Brian Cash, the Deputy Assistant Secretary for the California Natural Resources Agency. We'll be hearing from them. Pacifica City Council, Len Stone and Lori Tempo. And on the other side, the Half Moon Bay City Council, Alan Alifano. Is Alan here? John Mueller, Farmer John, and Marina Frazier. And Mike O'Neill from the city of Pacifica. Sorry. I knew I'd miss somebody. And then if the County Parks Commission, raise your hand. They're all here. And as a consequence of their good work, we should recognize the tunnelistas, or we wouldn't be here. And with that, I'll say welcome. This has been a long-awaited opening of, I'll say, the Devil's Slide section of the California Coastal Trail, which is pretty amazing. And especially for this audience, all of you in some way over the last 12 to 14 years have contributed to the success of having this iconic section be open. And the county is very proud to stand among so many partners to make this happen and create what is really, for I think our visitors, going to be a world-class opportunity. Last year, many of us gathered in front of the Tom Lantos tunnels. Interesting thing about being in front of a tunnel that is sucking wind and it's overcast and cold. We stood there through a lot of discussions and a lot of celebrations and said farewell to rock slides and road closures. And that was a great thing. But today, we're here, I think, to celebrate what is arguably one of the most scenic trails on the California coast. The tunnels provide the coast residents, businesses, and visitors with a really safe, reliable route to the north and central San Mateo coast and to San Francisco. The tunnels were a necessity. They were an answer to a real problem. But the consequence of that necessity is pretty amazing, and that is that the original road be dedicated as a trail, and here we are today to celebrate that segment being open. And I was thinking about this because often people say, wow, it's pretty amazing to be on here without the cars. And it is. It's because as we all went, and I live on the coast, as you go back and forth across this in a car, even when you're behind a cement truck going 2 miles an hour, the only thing you can do is this and turn back before you get hit or hit somebody. But now you'll be able to experience really what is really incredible and really focus on the beautiful details. And we just about can see the Farallones today, but it's an incredible 1.3 mile long trail offering amazing views across a beautiful area. And really to enhance all that through many of our partnerships, and the partners will talk about that, we've got a number of these beautiful interpretive signs to explain everything you're seeing. And now for the first time you can enjoy the geological, the rocks and all the amazing things you could look at that you had to duck before a sweeper had to pick up on the trail or shut down the trail. And so lastly, I'd like to recognize a group that has worked behind the scenes through this whole thing. And we're all celebrating the fact that we love each other, but we don't need to have another meeting. And that is the Devil's Slide Task Force. Raise your hands if you're here. We don't know how many meetings we had, but they're definitely between 50 and 100 over the last few years. And they've done a great job. So for the local residents, this will now be a kind of a hiking path in their backyards, and for our visitors, it's going to be an incredible portal either way to the California Midcoast. And what a great opportunity. Thank you all for being here today. And now we have a number of speakers, and I will introduce them as they come up. First, I'd like to ask up Katrina Rill, who's going to read a letter from Jackie Spear.
Thank you, Dave. I'm Katrina Rill from Congresswoman Jackie Spear's office, and she is in Washington, D.C. I bet she'd rather be here, but I will read a letter on her behalf. Dear San Mateo County residents, you are standing in one of the most beautiful spots on the California coast. And you can actually take the time to take in the views, because, as you know, until the opening of Devil's Slide Tunnel, all of us sit by the spot at 25 miles an hour in our cars. The opening of the Tom Lantos Tunnel on March 25th last year has changed the lives of coastal residents. Gone are the days when they had to fear what gave Devil's Slide its name, the sliding of the hill towards the ocean down there. Now that we can enjoy and explore the spectacular county park by foot and by bike, we should give credit to all the residents, engineers, and public officials who made the tunnel possible, because without the tunnel, there wouldn't be Devil's Slide Trail. I want to especially remember the late Ollie Mayer, who passed away just 5 days before the opening of the tunnel. Ollie was an engineer by training, a member of the Sierra Club, and a tunnelista. While the tunnel is named after Congressman Lantos, I think the trail should be named for Ollie Mayer. Today, Devil's Slide is a combination of brilliant human engineering and a marvelous stretch of open space. I wish I was with you in person to welcome everyone to this spectacular addition to our park system. Jackie Spear.
Thank you, Katrina. Now I'd like to introduce Bob Finney, the Acting Chief Deputy Director for Caltrans, the folks that fought through this, worked through this, put it together, and even went to an awful lot of public meetings.
Skip did, for sure. Yeah.
Skip did, yes.
Yes, of course, he's referring to Skip Sacco, who's the longtime project manager out here. Man, what a beautiful day. I had my heavy jacket on. I was expecting to bring an umbrella. And, man, the clouds parted. You guys really have a great day if you open this bike path or trail. So good morning. Thank you for letting us join your celebration, and thank you all for coming to this event. At Caltrans, we don't often find ourselves giving away pieces of the state highway system, and we certainly don't really commemorate that with a ribbon cutting. But today, I can see this is a really special deal. This is a really beautiful trail we have going here, and you guys got something special. You know, from the moment it was decided to build a tunnel at Devil Slide, people started figuring out what to do with the existing roadway, and I'm sure a lot of the folks here had a lot of ideas. And I'm sure that you guys did a really good job, because when you look at this, it's really marvelous. I mean, you know, the Bay Bridge has, they have a little bike bridge. You guys have a wonderful trail. Just spectacular views of the coast. It's amazing. So as you can see here today, they really did come up with a good idea. And you know, a year ago, the trail you're standing on now was part of the state highway system. It was almost exactly a year ago when we opened up the tunnels. That piece of the state highway carried 1,300 vehicles a day. And all that changed when we opened the Tom Lantos Tunnel, which was really a tribute and pushed through by the citizens and local residents who really made this thing happen and created this beautiful bike trail, you know, in addition with San Mateo County. It's all because of your efforts. And I need my prop. Thank you. So right now I'd like to get Supervisor Horsley to come up to the podium, please. And we want to give this to you on behalf of the men and women at Caltrans and the contractors that work with them through the years to keep Devil Slide open and to build the new tunnel. We're passing the shovel on to you. Good luck. It is a symbol of the county's stewardship and your leadership in bringing this really, truly beautiful trail to the public. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
That was a great transfer. Thank you. I might recognize the support behind the supervisors here too. The county manager that has to put the money together, John Maltby, is here. Now I'd like to introduce the executive officer for the California Coastal Conservancy, Sam Shookett, and just mention that one of the big items you can, as a great partner in helping with some of the funding of this, they're the ones responsible for the bathrooms.
Not only are we responsible for the bathrooms, but quite a few of us have reached that age where we understand the importance of bathrooms, the critical importance of bathrooms on a trail system. I cannot overemphasize that. It's delightful to be here today. You know, we at the Coastal Conservancy have some expertise in segments of the coastal trail, and I can tell you this is inarguably one of the most beautiful. But it's incredibly exciting to be here to open it after years of driving through here and wanting to see what you could see, but being afraid that you would crash. I wanted to acknowledge the Trailside Ambassadors who are here. That's a Coastal Conservancy funded program from our Explore the Coast. It's great to see how little time passed from the grant award to the program coming into action here. So the coastal trail, which will eventually be 1,100 or 1,200 miles, is currently a little bit more than half done. We have about 700 miles in place now. So this is the newest segment that we are inaugurating. We are hard at work north of here, connecting this trail up to the rest of the trail in Pacifica, and south of here in Green Valley to make the connection to Half Moon Bay. And I'm confident that we will get those things done, and then we will have 7 miles of continuous trail, and it will be possible to ride your bike or hike from one place to another. And the Coastal Conservancy, of course, has a long history in this county and in this part of the coast. In addition to the $500,000, more or less, that we've invested in this project, we've put over $1 million into land acquisition around here. And it really wouldn't happen without the support of all the local citizens who live here, the tunnelistas, people like Lenny Roberts, who recognize what a special environment you have and how important it is to take care of it and preserve it and make sure that it's open for people who live here and people from all over California to come and enjoy. So we're delighted to have played a part in this. I can't wait to get out on the trail and take a hike, and I've completed my inspection of the restrooms at this end, and I want to kind of check them out at the other end to make sure that they're just so. Thank you very much for being here today.
And now we'll hear from Brian Cash. He's the Deputy Assistant Secretary for the California Natural Resources Agency.
On behalf of Secretary for Natural Resources, John Laird, I'd like to congratulate everyone. We provided part of the funding for this project from the Environmental Enhancement and Mitigation Program, and I'm happy to announce, I'll be brief and I'll just make this announcement and move on. I'm happy to announce that this year in the budget we're receiving an additional $4.4 million to fund projects like these. So congratulations, and we hope to be funding more in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And now with the California Coastal Commission, Dr. Charles Lester, and it was the commission that put this small segment in the CDP to make this happen.
I'm so happy to be here today. 40 years ago, more than 40 years ago, Californians decided to pass something called Proposition 20, which led to the California Coastal Act. One of the core visions in that act was public access to and along our shoreline for all Californians. And I can't think of a better example of achieving that vision than what we're celebrating today. The opening of this trail is enabling all Californians to appreciate this segment of coast in a way that they haven't been able to date. And I would agree with you, Dave. My wife doesn't let me drive when we go along the coast because I'm constantly turning my head. And I'm glad that I won't have to do that here anymore. I'll be able to enjoy it in a nice pensive walk or a bike ride. So I'm just so happy to be here today and appreciate this with all of you. I do want to give special acknowledgement to one of our state partners, Caltrans. I think without their commitment to this effort and the willingness to take a holistic look at the transportation corridor and not only address the need for the tunnels, but also the opportunities for access along here for pedestrians and bicyclists, we wouldn't be here without that. I also want to recognize Supervisor Don Horsley for bringing us to the finish line here. Without that commitment of the county and his leadership, we would not be here also. Yeah. And as I was reflecting on what this opening meant for me, it was not just celebrating a specific place and a specific segment of the coastal trail. It was about celebrating not only our vision for public access, but also this idea of connections. It's about connecting the issues we deal with along our transportation corridors, and we're going to have to do that increasingly. It's not just about completing links in the coastal trail, but working with segments of Highway 1 and Highway 101. I can think of a dozen spots where we're working with Caltrans to plan for the next 100 years of access and transportation along the coast. So we need to keep this vision in mind, and we need to recognize that it's about partnerships. It's about the state and local governments working together. It's about agencies working together. And it's really about the citizens at the bottom end of the day, about all the participation of you all that have had this vision and a commitment to making it happen. So thanks to all of you, and thanks for being here today.
And now we've got a special proclamation from the state legislature that Senator Jerry Hill and State Assembly Member Kevin Mullins are going to present.
Thank you, David. You know, what a wonderful day this is and a great celebration. It's funny, everyone has mentioned that driving along Devil's Slide, and it's so true, because I was always afraid if I was coming this way and a car was coming that way, I would always kind of make sure I was separating when they hit this point, because I knew they were going to cross the line. They always did, because no one cannot look at that majestic view every time they come by. It's just extraordinary. The one thing this does highlight for me is how important it is and how we have to stay committed to the access, the public access of our coast. If we don't, we will lose that access for the public. And the 80,000 projected walkers, hikers, bicyclists, whatever it will be annually that will come here, and I think that's an underestimate. We need to make sure that they can do that everywhere in California, whether I'm working to make sure we have access at Martins Beach or whatever. We have to keep that fight going. So thank you for that commitment that we all have made to that. And also the thanks go to certainly Caltrans. You know, it's funny, I've never seen Caltrans so willing to give up a piece of land in my life. It's just too bad they couldn't do that with the Bay Bridge, give it to somebody else. But it is extraordinary. But Caltrans certainly is a great partner in everything that we do. The Coastal Conservancy is there, providing those resources that are so needed and so helpful and so important. And the Natural Resources Agency, John Laird, and through the governor down, has been just extraordinary in their participation, their eagerness to help communities do what they want to do. Kind of like bringing things to the community and to home, and that's what they've been doing so well. And certainly to the Coastal Commission, who is a real partner to all of us in making sure that this coast is preserved for a long time. So I have a resolution, and you know, Kevin and I are going to present it, and just wanted to make sure, unfortunately, Assemblymember Gordon wasn't able to be here today. You know, Jeremy Dennis is there, but he's here in spirit because, as we all know, with his time on the Board of Supervisors and in the Assembly, to make sure that this access, this trail, that tunnel, that it all came about. So we're appreciative to his work as well of that too. Kevin?
Thank you so much, Senator. I am so very honored to represent this part of the coast and this spectacular view when I'm in the California State Assembly in Sacramento. It's a pleasure to join you today for the opening of the trail. With the completion and opening last year of the Tom Lantos tunnels, coastside residents and businesses have some peace of mind that one large storm can't wash away the road and severely impact their livelihood. As you well know, the tunnels took a long time. That's a bit of an understatement, I think. Some might agree in the room, out on the trail today. Thankfully, the trail did not take as long. But one thing both projects shared is visionaries. Thank you to everyone who had a hand in shaping this dream. This trail stands as a testament to your work. If the late Congressman Lantos were here today, he would surely be proud of what has been accomplished. This trail proves once again that San Mateo County, when faced with a difficult challenge, we work together, find common ground, and not only solve problems, but gain from it. This community took what seemed to be a yearly natural disaster and turned it into a true treasure that this county and the state as a whole can be proud of. And what used to cause headache and heartache is now a place for rejuvenation and inspiration. I look forward to coming back to the trail often and hiking with my wife Jessica and our beagle Sunshine, on leash, of course, and take in all of what the new Coastal Trail has to offer. Kudos to all. Thank you so much.
Kevin will present this resolution to Supervisor Horsley, and on behalf of myself and Assemblymember Gordon and Assemblymember Mullen, congratulations on a wonderful, wonderful job and all the hard work that you've done to make this happen, Don. Thank you very much.
Put it right next to my gold shovel.
Your gold shovel, put it next to the shovel. Thank you.
I believe you're up. I think this would be a great time for Supervisor Horsley to give his talk.
Okay, all you coastsiders, who's got it better than us? That's right. You know, first of all, one of the other things I want to tell you is that, you know, when we looked, the county put $2 million into this project. And to be candid, it came out a lot better than I initially thought. We did our Public Works working team, they did a great job. So I want to thank all those people from Public Works. Thank the Tunnelista for what you did in the past. And, you know, I don't know if you know, when I was sitting here, I'm kind of looking up. And the reason I'm looking up is because I'm watching all those birds fly around. And, you know, I think we're going to have school kids coming out here, college kids, looking at the geology of this mountain. Oh, by the way, if any of you want to volunteer to climb up and get rid of that pampas grass, we're taking volunteers. We'll let you rappel down. We want to get rid of that pampas grass and restore all of the native plants. The best view here, actually, because I spent a little bit of time here. You know, I used to be a sheriff and stuff. It wasn't called Devil's Slide for nothing. But the best view actually is down there. And you look at that rock out there. The rock is it was for the recovery of what's called a common moraine. And what they did is they put out these decoys and stuff. And so we had somebody from the Audubon Society. We were looking down there, and he said, well, there's mostly decoys. The common moraine is making a comeback. Most of those are decoys. So I said to him, hey, they're all moving. They're back. They're back. So we've made it's a remarkable recovery of that species. And so there's also a peregrine falcon. Unfortunately, he or she normally sits up right on top of that mountain. And unfortunately, probably because there's so many people, he must, or she, or whoever, whatever it is, must have, is maybe scared off or looking for a mouse or something like that. But this is really a remarkable, exciting day for all of us. And when we were talking about the Tunnel East and talking about Devil's Slide Task Force, you know, we did work with the Coastal Commission, the Coastal Conservancy, Caltrans. I actually started with it when I was a sheriff with Rich Gordon. And then when Rich left and eventually I took over, we kept with that same group of people planning for this day. And I can't tell you how excited all of us are, and how gratified we are to see this come to fruition finally. We think this is going to be, I think, of course, this is my district. I love this district. I love the entire California coast, but I especially love this area. And I think this is just a treasure that we're all going to really be able to enjoy for not only today, but for the future, for all of our children, grandchildren, and beyond. And I want to thank also Caltrans for eventually turning this over. They did a fabulous job, and I think this roadway is going to last for decades and decades and decades. They did a marvelous job when it first slipped. And that's the other part of the thing you can see is the engineering that they did to really stabilize the roadway. So I think that's probably, unless Marlene has to talk or, oh, well, in any case, I'm so gratified. I'm really excited about this day.
It's a hard act to follow. Yeah, and I want to recognize one other partner, because around this area right now, you know, we've got a brochure that's out that's just the Devil's Slide area. It doesn't have any particular logo on it because the agencies, State Parks, Coastal Conservancy, Park Service, who is out here, National Park Service, the county, are all working together, and the Peninsula Open Space Trust, to look at how we can collectively do a better job managing these areas. So that brochure is also a partnership. And now for the person that, I don't know if get stuck's the right word, but as this transfers to county parks, it'll take some strong leadership. And our Parks Director, Marlene Finley.
Boy, it's good to see all of you out here today. So many friends, so many partners, so many advocates that have made this all happen. When I think about today, I think about two hands extended outward, two weathered hands that have worked the dirt, worked the soil, taken care of things, as San Mateo County Parks accepts this responsibility of stewardship. We're ready. Our park staff's ready for this day. Our volunteers are ready, and I want to thank our commissioners, our park commissioners, for all that you've done to make this day happen and all that we will do into the future. So on behalf of park staff, on behalf of our volunteers, welcome to your newest San Mateo County Park.
And now for the main event. We're going to cut the ribbon, but I want to, as we get set up to do the ribbon, I want to tell a little story about the Curios. They hinted at it, but you know, they're going to play their song, The Last Ride, and on Devil's Slide, and it was all about the day before everything shut down. And we began the work to make it a trail. And so they planned, a little underground group, planned to get together and put a little song together in a video. Neil Young heard about it, showed up with a production crew, and of course the Cadillac. If you haven't seen the video, you need to see the video. But great story behind it. I don't know if they're going to write the lyrics, but they, for the first walk, they were here for the last ride, they're here for the first walk, and they'll play now while we all gather over there for the ribbon cutting. And thank you all for being here, and thank all the partners, which is just about everybody here.
Do this on 3. 1, 2, 3.
I'll give you good head-on collision. Love so sweet, baby, I'll blow your vision.